Well, last night when people were bothering me again, I said, "You do realize I passed a BCI background check. It's all criminal background check a year and a half ago. I have nothing. They're manipulating you." Or they run around telling people they have charges. And they said they had fake paperwork to make it look official, like the fake court order watch somebody. There's no such thing. I already did the laws. It's a special protective light cases only. And they don't even want to say any police officer was messed up in it because they got 3 to 5 years and they lost their badge because it's illegal search and seizure. Who do you turn the police or any agency in for surveillance when you're in your home? Department of Justice, FBI, ICE, and local police department. Fourth Amendment right to privacy. It's a legal search and seizure. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life. Failure to notify for initiating and speaking to the other person in the home is abuse and misconduct, and failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. Yeah. it, so where Will took, that's why Officer Reinhardt in Louisville laughed until Will took your statement and agreed to protect you. There's nothing else. Mm-mm. There's not. And then that's where that heavyset cop showed up a few days later, made a public statement that he talked to Dave about those people threatening me and he better not put his hands on me till he finds out. Until he said something to Dave. He didn't know that man went to Paymer. People around me said he was actually one of the undercover police. Yeah, he was actually up there, which is really scary. Because if you think about it, he was seen in that apartment with those men that had a copy of my phone before I called Will back. And I forgot to tell Will that too because they were drugging me up. And I told you I thought they were doing drugs out of there because lights flashing above my house. And on Christmas, scrambling my phone when I went back to call my oldest. And he's like, "Mom?" And I'm like, "John, Merry Christmas." He's like, "I almost didn't answer because I didn't come up with your phone number." And he said, "It sounds like you're in a tunnel or an airplane." And I said, "Oh, hard telling." And I thought it was the FBI. The FBI didn't do anything. Well, because I found out February 25th, 22 at noon, McDonald's at Whipple. I seen a guy from Ravenna used to follow me around when they harassed me. And I'll tell you what, I think he lives on John Thomas Street. Because I think I seen his car down the road in Ravenna. He had been in that store that day. I told you Dave hit me with a board with the face for getting smart, and he stormed off and went to the store. He said that my ex-husband had showed up at his store and told people he didn't want me anymore. He had been trying to get rid of me and nothing worked. And asked all those people for help. Instead of calling the police on him, they agreed to help. Retired Judge Pete's daughter was there and her bitchy friends. And so the undercover police helped. Because the divas were doing it. And he said it's been the people in the store doing it to me the whole time. Well, he also said that the undercover police called up Will and told Will I was lying. And that's why he never helped me. And he's like, "I'm tired of this." He said some guy thought it was amazing what she lived through. So I told him to go ahead and meet her. And some guy comes up and says, "Hi, I'm Vito." Tape an audio. McDonald's on Whipple, February 25th this year. Just a little bit around. Yeah. Rats them all out. He said, "I'm tired of this." Well, yeah. It's shit. It's absolutely shit. If they actually pulled a case that Will Creighton turned over to the police for protective custody, it's a house of horrors. They sold a login by Christmas 18. It's a house of horror. There was, now they're driving my uh, what is it? My client's home. And they've been standing off in the dark, saying stuff, driving by, saying stuff. Okay. So I call, I didn't call anybody. I sit down, I start rambling. Okay. About everything. I said, you know how messed up they were? There was this old man came up to me. For every idle word you say, I'll turn it on you. You try to leave Dave, I'll list you a dirty word. And he's saying crazy stuff. He said, I use sodium pentothal on you. He said, you know what you told me? You were wearing this one nightgown. You bent over him probably once. And they seen your butt. And you had a life of pain because of it. I'm like, who are you? Who are you? And walk off. I have a bruise on my leg. I'm sick to my stomach. Who are you? He was claiming he broke in my house and caused that bruise, and he used a lethal outlaw drug. You lie under sodium pentothal, so-called truth serum. You lie like crazy. I talked to a retired officer. He said, you know how bad that stuff is and those other amnesia drugs? They can actually give it to you, and you'll do what you're told, and you'll actually do it. And then until it wears off, you don't know what you're doing, and you won't remember it. It's that bad. They're basically roofies. You're sleepwalking. I walked outside my client's home. They said, that's the one that says he's Karen's will. He works for Dave. And they said he was doing it to you before. I had bruises I couldn't explain. And I gave you the whole list of all the other people that drugged me, and I had bruises and hand marks, and they were breaking in my home, unlocking my bedroom door, and I'd wake up with bruises. Yeah, they're crazy. I need someone to pull Will's case. I need them to pull it. There's so many crimes done in that legally bugged house where they got the Amish men with the beards. They got. It's just Judge Pete, like his wife said. For it's my daughter. Her husband dates. He met her in Ravenna when she was having a stomach spot, a concussion. He hit me with a board in the face. And it's for my daughter. They did all this for. And our family watching her doing this. It's them. Memorial Day weekend 2019 at the food counter. Old white woman screaming it out of Walmart 62. They found it in November. It's been them the whole time. The white-haired guy with his hair parted on the side is his son. Let's spit an image of him. Some kind of relative. Ordering and barking everybody around. The guy running it, it's him. Told them to chip me. Neurochipping's been around since 16. Medical field patients. Our government outlawed it in 2005. They tried it in Guanaco Bay. And our U.S. government recognizes remote neuromonitoring and electronic brain links as a legal strategy for the truth used by perpetrators of a heinous crime. They were outside my clients screaming it's impossible. So I pulled up the webpage. People screamed and drove off. Medical fields had it since 16. How they just cut your skull, put that disc right under your skull, expand it out and surgically glue it down. They had a man driving a car with his mind. They also have ones that run robots with their mind. They also can play computers and video games and the cell phone. It's medical field stuff for 6 years. 6 years. 12/21/18. Stabbed in the neck of the refrigerator. Foggy, hazy, dark, bright light. Felt myself cry. Woke up 6 hours later in bed. 4-inch bruise with fingerprints under my ribs. A dent in my head. Hair's missing. Skin feels funny. Another man's comb on the dresser. And a steak knife with bone and flesh in the sink. Dave's accusing me of having an affair, and I have no idea what happened. None. My head's pounding, and where I've been drugged up so bad, I went back to bed, and they're breaking and stabbing me with needles. I lost 62 to 67 pounds in 4 months, being drugged up so bad up there. When I tried to help some lady said her husband died up there, they beat, raped, tortured me. So they sold the login by Christmas 18. Yeah. And where the phone was echoing on Christmas when I called John. They're shooting off lights in the back. They're drug running out of that apartment. And where after the shooting night of Christmas 18, they moved into the male nurse's house. A bunch of people to guard me. So instead of trying to move it out, they burned everything. In the middle of the night. And the guy that told Pam was seen in that picture window. That's how not funny this is. Someone needs to help me. I have no accusations. I have no charges. They didn't have a court order. They're wanted for stalking. Last night when I got home and I said all that, people drove by, they better fix this. Someone needs to.